Hi there. I just wanted to run through Peter's progress so far and kind of where we're up to really. So at the moment there were sort of a couple of lessons in and we've got Peter's swing before and after here. So his before swing's on the left and his after swing's on the right. So really to start with, we've just tightened up his posture a bit. On the left here his feet were quite wide, which was affecting sort of how his knees and his legs would be positioned as a result, and the kind of his arms were quite stiff and very, very rigid. So really combining how Peter started with how he'd moved the club at the beginning, then this would give us most of the problems really. So what would happen here is, because of how he started and his concept of how he's trying to move the golf club, everything starts to turn in the wrong direction. So all his body levels are kind of going in the wrong direction here at this point. So rather than perhaps working around with his spine, it's kind of working a bit the wrong way. And from here really, you're not going to be, it's difficult to change that up on the way back, so he just continues to sort of turn or move in this direction. As you can see when we get to the top of the swing here in his old one, everything's sort of almost pointing down, or he's turned very much down with most of his body levels, and you can see his knee coming in here and kind of what the spine's doing. So in the new one, really we're trying to change that a bit in terms of the direction of turn. So even at the beginning here, you can see a big difference in kind of what his body levels are doing at the start of the swing. So they're staying a lot more this way, and the turn directions change quite a bit. So from here, Peter can really continue to make his swing and maintain a better body position and a better hitting position really for the golf swing throughout his backswing now. So looking at these two, these are, again, you can see these are very, very different with what the left side of his body is doing. This hasn't collapsed in now, and you can see the spine and the sort of body relationship and how that's changed quite a lot. So this is going to make Peter's job far easier when coming back into impact with the ball. So if we go back to the one on the left, what you'll see is, because of the levels or how Peter's body's moved, he's got to try and compensate for that on the way down. So he's coming in here, the body's kind of coming in at the wrong angle, so then as he comes in he has to kind of stand up through the ball to try and fix that up, or to try and actually be able to put the club on the ball properly. Problem is here, this gives quite an inconsistency in strike and perhaps how the club's applied, and some loss of power, and this left arm kind of breaking down through impact here, so not as effective as it could be really. So if we just switch over to Peter's newer one on the right here, with this body position, it's a much easier move back in, so he's got a lot less to do on the way back in, so it's an easier return for the club here. So at this stage, Peter's looking pretty good, body's looking really good, club's looking pretty nice, fairly well stored up there, and into impact he's not going to need to stand up now, so he gets rid of all that lifting, which is great. So this is a good improvement in just a couple of lessons. And then from here, his body can actually go through the shot a lot better, so he doesn't get sort of stuck and jammed up at the bottom. He can actually hit and then sort of follow the shot through and into a proper finish. Whereas in the old one, we tend to get more lifting here on the left, and then again a bit stuck over it or behind the ball as he hits. Okay, so if we take a look at the back now, again the posture's changed a bit at the back. So Peter's posture at the back was quite flexed in the knees, hands quite low, and sort of a little bit stooped over really. So we've got that a bit taller with his posture here on the right, less flex in the knees, still flex but not quite as much, and it feels like his hands are quite higher at this point, and everything's just a bit taller really. So it's going to give a bit more freedom of movement when Peter moves the club. So his old one from here, get quite a lot of early turn in the wrong direction, which sends the club too much behind him at this stage. And as he goes up, the club gets quite low around his body, with his arms quite low here. So in the new one, as we move the club, we've still got turn, but it's a smaller version of what he had, and this gets the club in a much better position here. So the direction of turn and the amount of turns changed at the beginning, and then from here the club can work up into a better position with the shaft and with the face and the whole body here. So again, these two positions look quite different. Then in the old one, on the way down, Peter would be trying to compensate again. The club kind of moves, or he goes from low to high with his swing, so the club's going away from him here, and he's coming in almost a little bit steep into impact. So the club gets outside his hands a little bit coming into impact, which is going to provide some push or some cut shots. With the face is still looking this way as he comes in, so he's got to do something at the bottom to try and square that up, and that requires a lot of hand and club face rotation to actually do that. So in the new one, his hands and arms and club can drop underneath his body better, so the club starts coming in at a better angle, and the club gets back into this position on the way down, which is very different to the one on the left here. Now this is spot on back onto your toe line here, so there's a great path or swing plane or swing direction, whatever you want to call it. And then the club just comes round to the ball. So again, if we look at the one on the left, he'll get a lot more standing up through the shot because of the direction of the club, and this one won't get that. We'll just hit and follow it through. So this is a real big improvement. Peter's doing very, very well with this. So really, we've just got to keep this going. Okay, so I'll update you with the progress next time. So I hope you enjoy the progress that Peter's making, and I look forward to seeing you next time.